What's up, team? Another lovely day here in Auckland, New Zealand. And I just want to take this chance to essentially be grateful for the position I'm at. As you guys know, I'm about 3 years into what I'm doing. I always round it up to 3 years, but I think it's around 2.5 or 2 years and 8 months or something like that. I always round it up just because that sounds better than saying 2 years and 6 months or 2 years and 8 months. 2 years and 4 months, you get the idea. But I'm about 3 years into it. Things are going really well. Finally, I think I'm quite comfortable with where I'm at, with how things are going. As you guys know, I did my 100K and 100-day challenge earlier this year. Things have been going good since then. I've hired team members, one of them not being ideal, of course. We went our separate ways, but I'm with this amazing lady called Chrissy, who, she's a beast. She saves me so much time every day, every week, every month, every quarter, every year. You get the idea. And I can't wait to bring more people on like her, essentially, for her to train people up and for me to start delegating more and more and more. So I'm super grateful for where I'm at, especially with what I'm doing. As you guys know, with what I'm doing, I only work with tradies. So if you are in Australia or New Zealand or Canada or England or Ireland or USA for that matter, get in touch with me if you know any residential contractors that want more leads through Meta advertising. Things are going good there in terms of that side of things, but I'm getting to a point where, kind of word spreads around, the town through potentially friends, family, and even strangers, of course, my clients, that I'm doing what I'm doing. And for better terms, I'm quoted as an expert in the industry, which very proudly, I am an expert in the industry. It's my job. It's literally what I do every day. So I know how to operate Meta Business Suite, Meta Business Manager, and I know the basics of advertising, of course, especially when it comes to residential contracting. But essentially, every ad is similar. You're advertising to a specific audience, a specific message to get them to do a specific action, right? Same thing with everything. So again, word around town's getting around that I know what I'm doing, and I'm getting people approach me from not just, residential contracting industries, but every industry. I'm getting restaurants approaching me. I'm getting kind of health and wellness centers approaching me. And today I just got a direct-to-consumer drink company approaching me. Big company. They're doing some good numbers. Tens of thousands of followers on social media. Running ads the whole time. They have a big budget in mind. And these big entrepreneurs that are running these big companies that have even been in the advertising industry for years and years and years, you'd be shocked, like stunned at the things they don't know how to fix, right? You don't have to be an expert to learn this. You can buy a cheap course, you can spend a few hours on YouTube watching how to do this, that, and the other, and you're now an expert in the industry. It's very, very simple. But I say all that to say I'm very grateful for where I'm at and things like that, to say that, don't get mistaken now, the first $1,000 you make is going to be the hardest, right? That journey from nothing to your first $1,000 online, not through another company, not through working for someone else, just you, yourself, solo, a first-time entrepreneur, a brand new entrepreneur, brand new to whether it's online business, in person, that first $1,000, oh, bruv, that's not going to be ideal. At least it wasn't for me. Maybe it will be for you. It wasn't for me. Let me take you back and tell you a little story. When I was doing a laboring job, so I was literally doing hands-on labor, I did that for about a year and a half, learned that the industry wasn't, ideal for what I wanted to do with my life, knew that I wanted to be an entrepreneur. I knew that there was a market in selling to tradies and residential contractors. Okay, cool. Let me park that in the back of my head. Let me go off and learn sales and learn marketing and stuff like that. That's what I did. I learned sales, started off door to door. So nervous on my first few days, but eventually you get used to it. You're going door to door, you're asking people for donations to charity. That's what I was doing. Crazy, I know. Asking for subscriptions to charity, and you get people to sign up on a 1 year, 2 year, 5 year basis, 3 year basis as well, I think. And you get a small commission of that up front, and I think on an ongoing basis too. but I only stayed at that job about 6 months, so I didn't get too much, back end commission. Doesn't matter. My telesales job, cool job. I was making some good money when it came to the commission, not because it was a big commission. As I've told you guys before, it was only 1% or 1.25% poo in terms of commission, but the deal size was really big. So the average deal size was 20 grand. That's a $200 commission right there. I had some weeks where I was landing 50k deals, 3-4 times a week. I had a couple 80k deals in a week, 70k deals. On an average week, you're probably doing 100k in deals. Sometimes way less than that, don't get me wrong. Sometimes it's zero, not just 1 week, but 2, 3, 4 weeks, right? But some weeks you're getting 250k in deals in 1 week, okay? I stayed at that company for 1 year, had over $1 million of new revenue for the business. That's it for me, over $10,000 in commission. Not bad. That's why people like sales. Anyway, I wasn't absolutely balling or anything, but I was enjoying what I was doing, making good money. And then I realized, can't work my whole life as a salesman. Time to be a salesman for myself. And I thought it would be as easy of a transition as ever. I was selling a different product. I wasn't selling the same product I was selling when I was doing telesales, but I was selling a product that's, in my opinion, even better, right? I'm selling now an advertising product, right? I'm the one that's going to help you as a business owner get more revenue, okay? I'm not here to fix things on the back end, right? And save you a few dollars here and there. I'm here to spend your hard-earned money on something that's going to make you even more money, right? Then you can invest more into more ads, into better materials, into better marketing, into better team members, into a better business mentor that can eventually get you to a point where you get bought out by a big company here in New Zealand or Australia. You get the idea. So I thought I'd be even better at selling. I was wrong. Usually in every other walk of life, I would never, ever, ever say this. But this is what I felt, experienced, and had happened to me when I was first starting out entrepreneurship. I went from being a confident salesman when I was selling someone else's product to selling my own product and getting massive imposter syndrome. Now, I've never really had it before. And I thought it was really weird. I'd get on the phone. I've done all these hours of research, okay? I know the industry, what I think inside and out. I know what I'm selling. I know the product I'm selling. I know how to do advertising. I'm confident at onboarding someone. I've taken 1 million sales calls and booked a million appointments before. I've done in-person sales, door to door. There's nothing more awkward than getting rejected door to door. I've done all that. But for some reason, when I was working from my apartment as, again, a first-time entrepreneur, making these cold calls off the back of Instagram DMs, Facebook messages, cold emails, cold texts, and of course, cold calls. I was making cold calls or even warm calls from prospects that engage with my messages, and I was just shit nervous, as opposed to feeling safe because I had a massive, 10, 20, $30 million company behind me that I can always fall back on and say, oh, you know what, if you reject me and hate my products and hate me, I don't really care. I got someone else to call, and I got this massive company to pay me money anyway, and someone else is going to pay me money, right? Just because it's not you doesn't mean someone else isn't going to, which is the mindset I had when I was working at this telesales company. I changed. Instead, I felt worthless. I felt like this, right? I wasn't going to work every day in a suit and tie and dress shoes anymore. I was chilling at home. I was chilling in my apartment, sat at my desk, with a computer in front of me, with a notepad next to that, with a pen in my hand, notes ready to be taken. And I would call these people, and if and when, because it's just part of the game, when you get rejected. When I got rejected, it wasn't a, yeah, no worries, mate, have a good one. And I hang up, and it's on to the next call. I'd be devastated. That's when I'd have the moments of, I'd hang up the call and say, oh, that's 3 in a row like that. Fuck. Is entrepreneurship for me? Is it? No, I don't think it's for me. I don't think entrepreneurship's for me. Fuck, I shouldn't have left my sales job. How am I going to pay my rent this month? Fuck. How am I going to take that girl on a date? Oh, no, 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 no. I'm going to be broke. I'm going to be broke. That was honestly my thoughts. I was just like, oh, I messed up. And I knew that that was bad, but I knew that, which is a blessing. Even deeper down, I thought, no, no, I can't go back to a job. I cannot go back to, I cannot go back to employment. Because everyone that's there is going to be like, oh yeah, you tried entrepreneurship and you failed miserably. Back to the, back to the grind, back to working away. And I was like, no, I can't do that. Because if I quit now, 3 months in, 4 months in, 6 months in, fuck, I can't do that now. Because then I'm just like everyone else that tries entrepreneurship and gives up after it gets hard. And look, I don't think I'm like everyone else. I think I'm a little bit different. At least my actions are going to be different. So you know what? Let's keep going. And it only came, by the way, through repetition, through practicing and pushing through so much uncertainty. Again, I can't tell you why I had that imposter syndrome, but I think it's because I had a massive company to fall back on when I had my job, right? If this prospect tells me no, don't worry. We have a million customers anyway. We know what we're doing. It's not a shit product, even though you say it's a shit product, even though you don't like me, even though this isn't going to work out right now. No matter what the reason was, I know that it's a good product. And you have that kind of deep social proof inside you, not just for your prospect, but for yourself. You know it's a good product and you know it helps a lot of people and a lot of people love you. Cool. When you have no clients for your own business and you got people, prospects, telling you, I don't need that service. Don't need the service. Thanks. Thanks. You appreciate the call. A lot of people like you. If I need the service, I'd go with them, not you. Trust me. Nothing personal. But I don't know who you are. Don't know your service. That's your, don't need your service. I was doubting myself. I was doubting myself a lot. And like I said, that only dissipated and left after I kept putting in hours and hours and hours and hours of outreach. Again, cold calls, cold DMs, cold emails, following up, building relationships. And then, to land my first few clients, I worked for free. I was like, forget the money for a second. Can I actually do this? Okay, this seems easy enough. Can I do this? And lo and behold, get a client on a 30-day free trial. You pay after we provide results, and you smash it. They pay after you provide results. That's all the confidence you need, my bro. I'm telling you. When you get that first bit of result, when you get those first results for not only your client but for yourself, not only for yourself but for your client, you can take it all the way to the sky. Because my whole thing was, what if I sign someone up? They pay me $1,000, they pay me $1,500, they pay me $2,000, they pay me $3,500, they pay me $4,000, they pay me $4,500, and I get them no results. Do I have to give a refund? I don't want to give a refund. What if I get that money, I spend it, and then I have to give a refund 30 days later, 60 days later, 90 days later? I'm actually going to go broke if that happens. That's kind of a blessing. It's a catch-22 blessing, because they're going to pay you money, right? And you're going to work your bum off to make sure that that client is satisfied, right? Because guess what? If they're not satisfied, and it says in your contract or your agreement that you'll give them a full refund if not satisfied, guess what you're going to have to do? You're giving them a full refund. No if and or buts about it. So it's a beautiful catch-22. They pay you a lot of money, or a good amount of money for starting off, and you work really hard for them. Okay, you won't have to think, oh, I need to work so hard. You will work hard. Once the money hits your account, you will work hard, because guess what? If you don't work hard and you don't provide results for them and you don't provide a phenomenal service, that money's going just as quick as it came. Okay? And guess what? If you spend the money before you get refunded, not only is that money going, but your own personal money. So you're actually down double time. You know what I mean? Not ideal. But taking it back to the point, I want to tell you that your first $1,000 is the hardest. For me, I had no social proof. I had no confidence in my business, in my product, in myself as a salesman. Although I had millions of dollars of experience in generating sales for another company, similar product, but another company. that went to null in my own company. And again, through trial and error, through practice, through nurturing relationships, through proving to myself and proving to my customers that I can provide results, that's the only reason it changed. Only reason it changed. Now you can ask yourself all the questions you want, which I recommend you do, but the question is always, why are you doing what you're doing? What are you doing differently to your competitors? And how is that going to affect your customers and the marketplace around you? Why are they going to view you differently to your competitors? Those are the kind of key questions you need to be asking yourself. I hope that helped. Now, by the way, if you are watching this video and you want to watch a little bit more content about me, I've also made a video called 10 things entrepreneurs should ask themselves on their birthday. This isn't business related, so to say, it's more personal related, right? Of course, it's going to be related to your business, you're an entrepreneur. But if there's 10 things you want to know about yourself and be asking yourself every year on your birthday, something you can read every 2 weeks, every 4 weeks to kind of refresh your memory, refresh your motivation, as if you're stopping at a gas station and pumping up the motivation and discipline to continue on, that's a video you really want to be watching. So I'll leave that link in the description, or maybe I'll put it on the screen right here. I want you guys to go and watch that. After you do that, follow my Instagram at HarperMazy. Like, comment, subscribe. Tell me what you want to see next. If you want to hear any more stories about my career, my personal life, anything else you can think of, let me know. And I'll speak to you guys shortly. Take care. Bye-bye.